Now, the Auctioneers Licensing Board of Kenya is asking me to pay the auctioneer because I reported to them that the auctioneer auctioned me against the law. Did you get it right? I said the Auctioneers Licensing Board is asking me to pay the auctioneer because I reported to them that the auctioneer auctioned me against the law. Are you getting it? Now, I am making this video for you, my viewers, who've never gone to this body, so that you can understand before you go there, before you are frustrated, before you face injustice. I want you to understand from my experience. Let me be a lesson for you. Don't learn through experience because it will be painful. Let my painful experience be your lesson. Now, I want to give you a chronology of events of what happened before the Auctioneers Board asked me to pay the auctioneer. First of all, it should be understood that I did not have a problem with paying the amount that the court asked me to pay. The court asked me to pay 1 million shillings. And 1 million was favorable because the loan, the Shylock loan, had accumulated to over 3 million shillings. And so if the court asks me to pay 1 million shillings, which was reasonable, I was ready to pay. But what happened? I go to court, then I want to argue something, and the judge says, mute Gideon, mute Gideon. You see, you don't understand when I say this thing. And you know I'm speaking about something that I can be sued if I lie. I'm speaking about a respected court of Kenya. So if I'm lying in this video, I can be sued. So I'm speaking exactly what happened. I went physically to court and they told me that this court is not physical. It is exclusively online. I filed to appear in person and they gave me a link to appear in that case. And then I went to a place called High Rise. I sat down with my friend and we took the phone like this. We logged into Microsoft Teams and we started following the proceedings. And when it reached my case, the judge asked the person controlling that thing to mute me. And you know, I considered that the suppression of justice. Once I was muted, I physically went to court myself to the customer care. And I said that they muted me. I see my matter being prosecuted. I am muted. And then they said, no, next time when they say you come to court, you know, just raise your hand. I say, I raised my hand. There's a guy who knew how to do that. I raised my hand. And then I asked the judge, I have not been heard. Okay, I filed to appear in person and I have not been heard. Please, I want to be heard. The judge said, talk to your advocate, talk to your advocate. I told the judge, no, I don't have an advocate. I filed to appear in person. Can you please kindly listen to me? They muted me and they continued with the case. Have you ever watched your matter being prosecuted and you are watching and you are muted? I considered that suppression of justice. And that is when I started to understand why people like Raila were saying that we have kangaroo courts. Now, for them, they have gone to court many years, so they know what a kangaroo court is. For you who has never gone to court, you may not understand what that kangaroo court means. A kangaroo court is basically a court that I think is being... I don't want to explain because I'll mess up legally. But what I just want to say is that my justice was suppressed and I felt like the court is not the right place to listen to my plea. The whole thing was compromised. That is why I went to the Auctioneers Board. Now, this is the shocking thing I found about the Auctioneers Board. The Auctioneers Board does not have a portal where you can launch a complaint. A portal that can be tracked like the courts. In as much as we have funny arrangements in courts, the court has a registry and it has an online portal, an e-filing system where you can follow your case. And I'm very glad that my case is there. So if they argue, my case is there. I can actually follow it up and see what happened. Okay? In the Auctioneers Board, you present physical papers like these ones, where they sign. You see, they are signing. There is a, you can see there is a stamp of the Auctioneers Board. They receive with a physical stamp like this. Okay? Once they receive, then they keep it in their cabinet. There is no portal. If they want to play around with it, they can play around with these papers. These are just papers that they can play around with. There is no portal where you can track what you filed. And so I filed in the Auctioneers Board a detailed complaint of what happened. Kindly note as I continue with this video that I do not have a problem with the amount that I had to pay. I have a problem with the manner in which the execution was done. Now, let me give you a proper background of what happened. Let me give you just 2 reasons, because I have a very detailed complaint that I presented to the Auctioneers board. But I just want to give you 2 reasons, 2 very valid reasons why I went to the Auctioneers board. Reason number 1, the attachment of my property which was issued by the court in which I was muted. The attachment of property, the warrants of attachment and sale was issued on 25th of August, right? So the court issues the warrant of attachment and sale on 25th of August 2025. Kindly note that I have the money that the court approved me to pay, okay? So I don't have a problem with the loan. Now let's not talk about the loan because I'm willing to pay it. If they give me a proclamation and say that you have to pay this amount. Now, on 5th August, the auctioneer tells the board that they served me with a proclamation. 5th of August, bro. And the warrant of attachment and sale is issued on 25th of August 2025. So this one makes me believe that there was local arrangement in court. Because if the auctioneer can give me a proclamation on 5th of August, and the warrant of attachment and sale is issued on 25th of August by a competent judge. I just don't want to mention the name of the judge because I don't know if it's okay for me to do that. But the auctioneer that was given this mandate to carry it out was given the instructions on 25th of August. But the proclamation, which was not given, but according to their records, they gave me on 5th of August. Now, in less than 7 days, they have auctioned my property and it's ready for sale. Now, for those of you who don't understand, because I know most people don't understand what usually happens. What happens generally is that when a court issues a warrant of attachment and sale, the auctioneer is supposed to receive instructions from the lender. Then the auctioneer should serve you with a proclamation notice telling you that this and this property is supposed to be sold if you don't pay the money. Then as the judgment debtor, you are supposed to pay the money to redeem your property and to prevent your property from being sold. That way, you have satisfied the court decree and you have protected your property. That is why we have a proclamation. And the court, the judge, asked the auctioneer that you can only auction that property after you have given Gideon due proclamation. Now, this proclamation was not given. But when I complained to the auctioneer's board, the auctioneer went and backdated the proclamation. And the backdating was done in a very shoddy manner because it is a chronological impossibility in such a way that you cannot issue a proclamation before you are given instructions, before the warrant of attachment and sale are given. Are we in agreement? And therefore, that is just one of the reasons. Another reason, the court asked the auctioneer to sell this property after 15 days, okay? That the original warrants of sale requires 15 days notice and due proclamation. The judge specifically said, and I want to quote verbatim, after giving 15 days previous notice, by fixing the same in this courthouse after making due proclamation. So, it means that this sale had to be done after I had been notified and after 15 days. That is what I can see. But in less than 15 days, the auctioneer was already running around signing things and selling my property. So this is where now misconduct is committed, right? That one, you are not giving me a proclamation. There is no demand notice, nothing. You don't give me anything. Yet the court, which muted me and suppressed my justice, which is wrong, but again the right thing is they tell you serve him a proclamation, serve him a demand letter. I am not served, right? And then within less than 7 days after giving the warrant of attachment and sale, you are all over my property with police officers and DCIs and walkie-talkies, and you are taking my property. Now the court tells you to notify me 15 days before you sell it. In less than 12 days you have sold my property, and now I consider this misconduct. But I cannot go to that same court. Why? Because the court suppressed my justice. I was muted in that court. I have a bad experience with that court. It's a kangaroo court. I cannot go to it. What do? I should go to a board. Because the board is mandated to, 1, to license the auctioneer, and 2, to discipline the auctioneers if they do a misconduct, right? So I was right to go to the board, and I lodged a complaint on 24th of September, and I told the board, look, I was not served with a proclamation. I was not served any demand. I was not given any notice. I was just ambushed with DCIs and police officers, and in less than 10 days, my property is being advertised and is being sold. And yet I have the money. I want to redeem my property. I want to satisfy the court decree. I have the money. I don't have a problem with the loan. I want to pay it and redeem my property. Now I'm losing property that I acquired for 4 million Kenya shillings because of 1 million that the court is approving me to pay, and because of a 600,000 loan that I took from Shylocks. Now, I never knew that the Auctioneers and Licensing Board is also still a court. When you go there, it is still a court. That is a court, okay? And so I'm running away from a court that suppressed my justice to another court. You know, I thought there is a separate room or a separate place where you would go and meet the Auctioneers Licensing Board. So I heard that for you to talk to the Auctioneers and Licensing Board, you have to go to Milimani Law Courts. In Milimani Law Courts, there is a room 143. That is where you go and sit and talk to the board. So it is still a court with judges also. And then I say, what? I'm still going back to court, right? And then one thing that shocked me is when I clarified about the online portal, because I live in the village. I don't like living in Nairobi. And then I said that I am far away. If I want to communicate to the board, what do I do? They tell me that if you want to communicate to the board, you have to travel physically to Nairobi to talk to us. Now, in Nairobi is where the auctioneer lives. In Nairobi is where these lawyers live. And in Nairobi is where they can meet all the time. And me, I'm in the village. Right? So that means that they can communicate there anytime they want, but for me, I cannot talk to them anyhow. Now, to make this video short, I was in that court now, and I see the auctioneer coming with her advocate. And this advocate, he's a tall advocate like this, wearing sharp suits, and then he applies a lot of perfume and cologne. When he enters a place, his cologne and perfume smells the whole room. It covers the cologne of everybody else. But that's not the point of this video. The video is when he entered, I saw him smiling at the board members. Smiling, and they refer to him by name. And then I'm seated there, wondering, these people know each other. Yes, they talk. And then I say my goose is cooked. If board members know this guy, then my goose is cooked. Now, fast forward, we have reached the judgment. Right? Now, the judgment is this, that Gideon, we agree with you. You gave your documents. The auctioneer did not serve you a proclamation notice. The auctioneer did not serve you a demand notice. The auctioneer sold your property in less than 12 days. The auctioneer did not notice you of the sale. The auctioneer did not give you a chance to redeem your property. The board agrees. Are we in agreement? And what do I think? I think that the board is mandated to license and discipline the auctioneer for misconduct, because this is misconduct that I demonstrated in the board. But what does the board do? The board says that we are satisfied that the auctioneer did not follow the law. And we can even see that the auctioneer fabricated and backdated documents, because I have documents, real documents from the court, and fabricated documents that they served me and they gave to the board. The judgment that was in court that I have is real, and the one that the auctioneers gave is fabricated. The proclamation documents, I don't have them, but the one they gave to the board is fabricated. And so when you look at my case, it is convincing. But when you look at the case of the auctioneer, it is not convincing. And so I satisfy the board. But the board says that there are other proceedings about this case and we cannot prosecute it. And for that reason, you have to pay this auctioneer for auctioning you. Hey! Now I have to pay the auctioneer for taking my expensive property worth 4 million and then selling it at a throwaway price and then putting me in financial problems. Now I'm in deep financial problems, and then you are telling me again, in my financial mess that I am in, I should now look for another money elsewhere and pay the auctioneer again. Now, Kenyans, listen to me. That before you go to these boards to seek justice, listen to people like us who have been there. I have a brain, bro. I know what I'm saying. I understand the risks of speaking lies on camera. And so what I'm telling you is true. You are not likely to get justice in courts, okay? Kenyan courts are compromised. I can tell you that for a fact. We see always, anytime politicians say that our courts are kangaroo courts and all that, our courts are compromised. If you have a problem, kindly don't go to court. If you have a problem, for example, with a police officer, don't go to IPOA, as I have told you. If you have a problem with the auctioneer, don't go to that board. I can tell you for a fact, because my case is a clear example that justice can be twisted, right? Because if you ask me why my petition was struck out, it was struck out because they said there are other proceedings. Now, where are those other proceedings? There are no proceedings. The case was closed long time ago, the sale was done, and the misconduct was done, and everything was done. But what does the board say? You have financial problem, your source of income was interfered with, you don't have money in the first place, but again, we want you to compensate this auctioneer, right? And then later, that is when I start understanding that we have games that sometimes are played in these corridors of justice. These corridors of justice, you are not likely to get justice if you don't know how to play a game. If you don't know how to play a game, just stay out. And I had somebody tell me that you would have gotten a lawyer. Lawyers can be bought. Bro, lawyers have a price. Unless it's a low tire case that nobody can bribe. I mean, that's a simple case. The lawyer can win it. But you know, my case, this is 4 million shillings at stake. This is a lot of shillings at stake. And then I have 1 million. So we are talking about a case that involves 5 million shillings. It's at stake. And so what can prevent people from playing around with these millions of shillings? So that I can lose, me who doesn't know how to buy justice and to play around in the corridors of justice, so that I can lose. I carried up my hands. And as I said, I already sent a message to the advocate. And I told him, bro, give me the account number. I don't want to play around with the board anymore. Just give me the account. To date, I have not received any response. And somebody told me that when you see that they are not giving you a response, they are again preparing to go to court so that they can come and auction you more because of 20,000 shillings. Hey. Now, this is what they do. There's a guy, let me give you some experience of a guy who underwent the same thing. He was told to pay around 20,000 shillings, right? And I think he did not have it. And then they went to court. And then they told him that you can auction anything within his premise. You know, the court gives these directions. And so they went to that guy's house and they auctioned everything. Everything, including a potty that a child uses to poo-poo. So auctioneers, where are you taking a potty that has poo-poo? To the market. Where are you going to sell it? Will you wash the poo-poo before you sell it? You know, so these people can embarrass you. And once a court or a body of justice has been compromised, the one who is seeking justice and you are not at an advantage like me, you can be messed up financially. Bro, if courts can be compromised to finish you, even if you are rich, they can bring you down in a very bad manner. As I said, I had made a lot of strides financially. I had made a lot of progress. Bro, I was moving. Yeah? I was moving very well financially. And that thing just put like emergency brakes on my financial progress. Right now, I'm still recalibrating. Okay? I'm still recalibrating just to know how do I navigate, how do I balance things. Because now, I was running up and down in court, in the board to understand if there is justice and all that. Remember, I have no problem with the loan. I have no problem with the loan. So I'm not evading the loan. I have money to satisfy the court decree, right? But what is happening is that this property is being played around and the corridors of justice are postponing and delaying justice. You see, this case, I started it 1 year ago. People think that because I'm talking about it right now, that the case has started today. This is not a case of today. It is a case that started way long ago. And it's a case that was closed, where the auctioneer is saying that there are different proceedings. My final verdict is the Auctioneers Licensing Board mandated to license and punish or discipline auctioneers when they do a misconduct? Yes. Did this auctioneer engage in a misconduct? Yes. Was the auctioneer punished? No. The reason for failing to punish the auctioneer was that there are other proceedings. Are there other proceedings? No. So was justice denied? Yes. Should I appeal the decision? No. Because I know the board can still mess me up further by telling me to pay even more, the auctioneer. Now, what is my final verdict? I give up. I will never seek justice in secular courts. I will never seek justice in a court of law. If you have a problem with me, and it is me who has a complaint, I am willing to talk to you. If you want to take me to court, you can take me to court. I have no problem with that. But if I go to that court, I will make sure that the process is as simple as possible. Because I cannot bribe a judge. I cannot buy a lawyer. I cannot engage in buying justice. I will make the process simple for you. I will accept that I have a problem. But if it is me who is accusing you, come, let's talk, let's iron out issues amicably among ourselves. Because judges and lawyers and all these people in boards and everywhere, I do not think there is justice there. I believe there is a game being played that I do not understand. And for Kenyans who are watching me, if you have any property and you see someone coming to give you a loan, these people are not friendly. They are already connected with lawyers and judges, and they know how to play around in those corridors of justice. If they come for you, there is a very lean chance that you will succeed, unless you also know how to buy justice. Because these people, before they start lending money, they have already assessed the system and they know how to navigate the system. So there's no justice in Kenya. Take care of your property, take care of your money, and above all, live a simple, frugal life, because peace of mind is what we need to live a very comfortable life in quietness and tranquility. Thank you for listening to me. This is Giddy Akali, and we shall meet again in another video. Peace.